it is 1 o'clock. I said on Twitter that if you were paying attention, which you guys and girls out there are really good at keeping track of what's going on my Twitter, and I appreciate that, at Sro and Disney if you don't. And I will state right now that I said if you like Oscar predictions, you might want to stay tuned. As you can see, I wasn't lying. I just didn't know exactly what time to tell you guys. So that's the reason why we're here where we are right now. Welcome to now October's edition of the, wow, I almost call it the Halloween Horror Night. That's tonight. Of the Academy Awards 2018 Popcast, where we're going to give our predictions on the big 8 categories of the Oscars. And my name is Owen. As always, joining me is Ashley.
Hello.
And for one more month, hopefully you can hear him, it is AJ.
Yeah, I'm somewhat here.
We'll get this technical glitch fixed soon. Don't know exactly when, but it will be fixed in the near future. Hopefully before November's podcast.
Probably next week.
Yes. We all here on the Popcast Network want to wish AJ a very happy birthday. That's what I'm saying. We're wishing you happy birthday early because this is the only way where I'm going to be able to do so. Out where everybody can hear. So, obviously, you know, with what the network's going into right now, it is Halloween Horror Night season, which it does allow for our podcast later tonight in about 8 hours. But tonight, we're focusing on the Oscars, and we're focusing on the awards body once again. And I basically go with a version every year of what's the state of the race. The state of the race now is even more messed up than it was previously, to say the least.
Thanks, London Film Festival.
And not just that, but the fact that somebody that was a prominent part of the Oscar process, whether it was right or not, has now been basically excommunicated from Hollywood.
That's what you get, son. That's what you get.
Yeah, that's what happens when you try to take Scream away from me at Halloween Horror Nights. So,
Did I hear correctly that Harvey Weinstein's name has been in more acceptance speeches than God?
I would not be surprised.
Considering how prolific, if you look back to obviously his ties were with a lot of films over the last probably decade, 2 decades or so,
right?
It probably makes sense because they don't want to get too preachy with the stuff. So I guess the next thing that's close to preaching was his name, and it's like, nope. Harvey, you done, son, you done.
It was like, let's thank the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and God bless Harvey Weinstein for being the reason why I've got this gold statue. Nope.
Well, actually, there's somebody else that's going to be at the Oscar ceremony that will definitely be thanked. Whoever the host is has a gold mine for their monologue now.
Yeah, that is very true.
Pretty much so.
I'm assuming they want to go there.
Depends on who it is. I'm sure it's probably going to happen.
Isn't it Fallon again?
Has it been announced yet?
Let me see. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel. Kimmel. It was announced back in the rumors were back in May, and it's on Oscar's own website from September.
Oh, okay.
Roughly about a month ago. So Kimmel's returning, considering how well he was received with last year. So,
Well, considering the fact it is ABC, I don't see how Fallon could host because he's attached to NBC.
Yeah, I was trying to remember because there's too many names that host too many award shows.
This is true. Too many Jasons at Halloween Horror Nights and way too many Jimmys in late night television.
As long as it isn't a little Jimmy, that's all that matters.
Oh, dear God, no. So,
back to the subject we were on, I did have a couple of questions in regards to the whole Weinstein thing.
go right ahead.
Well, for starters, it seems like the two biggest movies that his company was putting out this season were Wind River and The Current War.
Right.
Which I initially had Wind River in my picture predictions, thinking it'd be like kind of that low tier nominee.
Right.
And I had Shannon in for The Current War.
Makes
which,
sense.
of course, was my kind of like the last choice. So really, he was like barely in this anyway. But it's just a matter of, is this going to have like, will people blame the movies that are under his name as well when they're thinking about who they're going to vote for?
Well, I mean, it's
because I don't know if anything else has developed, and I don't really know if there's any other things going around. But the last thing I heard that, I don't know that it was like proven, but the theory was that Bob basically is the one that really put the information out as a power play to get the company for himself. But that would mean that Bob knew everything that was going on and was also covering it up, which means that no matter who you are now, the Weinstein name is just fucked completely.
Yeah.
I don't know if the last remaining movies under that name are going to be even worse off than they were because of that, or...
Well, it's hard to say because honestly, like, I mean, this is not, I guess it's somewhat of a comparison, but it's a lot different extremes. Roman Polanski. You had somebody who had a very historic body of work that a lot of people really enjoyed, and then when everything came out, it's kind of like, I don't know. He's got his name on it. I'm not sure. Jeepers Creepers is a good example. The Jeepers Creepers 3 movie's coming out, and people are still saying, it's like, I don't know if I want to watch this because that guy's a little shady, to say the least. And I'm thinking right now, at least I was reading when I was doing my, oh my God, we have a podcast to do in less than 48 hours, and I have to get my stuff done. When I was doing that, basically I realized something about they've been pulling Harvey's name off of all mentions for anything. Like, I don't know the validity of that, obviously, but I did see something like they were pulling Harvey's name completely off. So they're trying to make it like as low key as possible. Which, I mean, you can't really get low key with this situation. It's one of those deals that you're pretty much like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Of course, it doesn't help as well that the news has now come out that he's apparently sent emails to the Hollywood bigwigs begging to be given a second chance if he gets the therapy, of which apparently one person anonymously basically said to MSNBC, because they got basically this leaked to them, the words are, and this is where you have to put the warning, there's colorful language, no fucking chance.
Yeah.
You get a second chance for something you've been doing for 30 years.
And, you know, not just the current war, but at least in terms of America, guess what the next film that the Weinsteins are connected with?
I do not know this.
Paddington 2.
Oh, man.
So that's... I don't know whether the deals have already been signed to mean that they can, you know, switch it to another distributor, perhaps. Maybe. I don't know.
I guess we'll see. I mean, it's like, you don't want to start this show on a down note, but it's like you kind of have to, because it's like the huge elephant in the room right now.
Well, on top of that, there's a few more things that have kind of moved the race in one direction or another. The kind of surprising TIFF winner.
Yeah, it's completely changed a lot of my predictions, and I'm sure you guys are following suit.
Because you hear about the fact that TIFF is an audience award, so maybe you think, well, that doesn't really mean much. That might as well be a People's Choice Award. But somebody pointed something out, and I was kind of looking at it. I want to take you through something real quick.
Okay.
In 2011, that movie "Where Do We Go Now" won.
Right.
It's kind of the outlier because that's just random. But if you take "Where Do We Go Now" out of it, the movies in the last decade that have won the audience award at TIFF are Slumdog, Precious, The King's Speech, Silver Linings Playbook, 12 Years a Slave, The Imitation Game, Room, and La La Land. If any of those movies didn't win picture, they did win something.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. If that's what that wasn't the direction you were going with.
I don't think we've actually dropped the title yet. Obviously, the TIFF winner was Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Which I'll give credit. Last month when we did this podcast for the first time for the Oscars, I believe his name was Gaius. He was in our live chat and said that, yeah, brought up Frances McDormand and brought up the movie itself as something that should be on our radar. But I guess it's just one of those things that, I mean, I go in very blind. AJ watches a lot more films than I do because he has a little bit of way to do so. I have the way to do so. It's just a lot harder to, especially this time of year, because obviously this time of year is very, very set on Halloween Horror Nights, and that's basically my main priority. Everything else kind of takes a back seat, as you can see with the A show running the network right now, basically, except for Sip and Snack every once in a while. And I thank you both for that, obviously. But, I mean, you guys are a lot more informed than I am, and I just kind of have to look around and see, oh, well, this makes sense. It's like, this is what this place is saying. But then again, anybody that's doing this is doing it just like we are. They're going in blind. They may have seen the films, but they don't know how everyone's going to react to them. Whether it's seeing a screening just once that pops the entire crowd or just completely just ruins everything. Just because one showing was the way it was doesn't mean that everybody's going to react the same way. And that's why these predictions in the month of October, mind you, are so crucial, because you can get in that Hail Mary at the last minute saying, oh, this movie that wasn't even on our radar is now everywhere in our lineups. And that's exactly where Three Billboards comes in. And
for a little context, it beat out the likes of Call Me By Your Name and The Shape of Water,
which are both prominent Oscar contenders as of this moment.
Also, keep in mind, the first runner-up was I, Tonya.
Yes.
We weren't sure about this last time we did it, but it's officially getting a qualifying.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Yeah, its US release is going to be December 8th.
Yep.
And there's one more thing that's been going on that we kind of vaguely talked about last time, but it's been progressing. And I say this now so that you see the influence and some of the changes that I made.
Okay.
Apparently, Lady Bird has had a streak of standing ovations, and they just got another one at the New York Film Festival.
Yes.
So there's that.
I'm very happy with that.
After all this build-up, we can probably get to it now, right?
We certainly can. Build up is one thing, but let's get to the main event, shall we? So, if you've not joined us before, number one, we've been doing this for a few years now, but we've been doing it in videos. Well, given the fact that Ashley's in the UK, I'm in Florida, and AJ's in West Virginia, we really can't do it the way we used to do it. Ashley joining us through the magical powers of Skype or the magical powers of Google Hangouts. And now it's AJ joining us from the magical powers of my iPhone 5.
Even though I probably sound like shit, it's still like a total miracle of technology this conversation's happening.
That's a straight shoot right there. But yeah, that's what we're going to go into. We've had the state of the race. A lot of things are going down. I'm happy what you said because I was hoping that's what you would go into. So we've changed a lot, and I've got the list that we had previously, so I'm going to see what kind of changes we have as we move on to our first category, which is going to be Best Adapted Screenplay.
I only made one change.
Okay.
And obviously the reason I had to do that is because we weren't sure last time where the post was going.
Correct.
It seems to be original. And of course last time I had it here, so I had to change that.
Yes, you did.
So now my completed list is Call Me By Your Name, The Death of Stalin, Last Night Flying, Mudbound, and Wonderstruck. Obviously, we talked about the last four with Call Me By Your Name being a big player. The Death of Stalin is the In the Loop thief people. Last Night Flying is like later. Wonderstruck is that Todd Haynes movie that did well at Cannes.
Right.
I wasn't sure about Mudbound last time because I was saying I still feel burned up with Beast of No Nation and how they just did not go for a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
And I've been really trying to think. Number one, I suppose if they're going to go for something like that, screenplay seems like a nice courtesy to them.
True. I can see that.
If that's how they want to do it. They want to be as like that as possible. And then, because another option still looming is Molly's Game, the Sorkin movie.
It's possible.
But it's like there just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of hype around that, even with him being the director as well and having somebody like Chastain as the lead.
Right.
And it's just really kind of the fact that he managed to not get in for Steve Jobs, I just feel like that's a lot. But I don't know. So I just went with Mudbound because, like I said, there seems to be a lot of hype around it, and just the fact that there's not a whole lot going on in this category, especially with the post-it against Vienna now.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because you don't know what's original and what's adapted. I know The Darkest Hour is a big issue right now too.
Did that ever get figured out?
Well, I mean, as far as I know right now, it's adapted, but I'm not sure. Something about, actually, I don't know if you can back me up on this. Something about the fact that the movie came out, it's still source material, but it's something that came out after the fact, so they have to prove that it's adapted.
That's the complicated issue with this. I think we may have covered it last time from what I remember. No, that's the wrong Darkest Hour. That's the one from 2011, damn it. I think the deal is that the script exists and it's from the same person that did Theory of Everything. So I think because it's based on true events, it may be classed as adapted. But the fact of the matter is the book, which actually goes into more detail, was commissioned because of the script.
Right.
So don't get that distracted into it. So, I mean, at the minute, I personally am sticking it in the adapted column, but who knows? I think we'll probably only get sort of any clear confirmation when we get the Golden Globe nominations down in early December.
Well, Ashley, if you want to do that, we can roll in your predictions for best adapted screenplay.
So Darkest Hour dropped out of mine, ironically. So I'm sticking with Call Me By My Name, Disaster Artist, Last Flag Flying, and Wonderstruck. But after seeing it last night, and because there's always one comedy that gets in there, Death of Stalin goes in.
Okay.
A really good satirical swipe at sort of modern politics, but also bringing humor into something that is not very funny at all, which is thousands of people dying. Yay! If you like any of Anucci's stuff, be it Veep, be it Thick of It, be it In the Loop, whatever, you will crack a grin, a smile, even probably audible laughs at it. Pretty much everybody did at the screening I went to last night. And yeah, I whether it will be strong enough to stay in there by the time we get to like February, who knows? But it's certainly in there for the time being.
All right. So my best adapted lineup actually has changed a little bit as well. So the current lineup I have right now is Call Me By Your Name, Wonderstruck, Last Flag Flying, The Disaster Artist, and I've added Mudbound. Here's the thing. Obviously, I'm not breaking down with The Disaster Artist. I'm going all in, just like the Justice League movie poster tells me to do. I do think that Mudbound has a shot, but I can see where AJ's talking about Ben Zeitlin being an issue before. Wrong Ben, wrong category. But the thing is, I don't feel as comfortable with Linklater as I did previously with what I've been reading a lot about. A lot of people are dropping Last Flag Flying out of their lineups for things. I didn't really look into it, but it kind of boggled my mind because it seemed like that would be more than solidified. But then again, it's October, so it's anyone's guess what they actually go.
Personally, I'm keeping it in there because I'm waiting to see how London responds to it. And it just so happens that I believe its first screening is tonight. By the way, I think they're already on like their second or third Call Me By Your Name screening because there's that much demand. I dread to think what's going to happen with Shape of Water as well.
The thing I also dropped out of this that I had a lot of hopes for originally was Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool. It's one of those things that could go either way at this point. I did have 2 nods for it, and I will give you right now, straight up spoiler alert, they're both gone. So I guess we'll see where we go with that. That may end up biting me in the end. I guess we'll find out. So that's pretty much what I've got here. I honestly think Call Me By Your Name is probably set pretty well. Mudbound has got a really good shot. I think The Disaster Artist is going to be a lot bigger of a contender than a lot of people think it is. And Last Flag Flying could go either way, but I mean, we'll see where we go from here, honestly. So we're going now into Best Original Screenplay.
Well, that's a headache to put together.
Yeah, that's a shoot.
What I ended up with was The Big Sick, Lady Bird, The Meyerowitz Stories, The Post, and three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. There are obviously 2 giants in this race I had in last time that I had to take out in order to do this, which I will explain. That's obviously Paul Thomas Anderson and Woody Allen, who I really did not want to take out of this, especially Woody Allen, because Winslow's buzz is building.
Right.
And it's like, if he just has a really great lead performance enough to back him up, his screenplays can still get in. See his fucking Streetcar ripoff.
Yeah.
So the thing here is, I feel like you'll notice with choices like The Big Sick, Lady Bird, and the Meyerowitz Stories, where it almost seems like original screenplay was made for stuff like this, where they tend to go for, this is where all the smaller choices get in.
Right.
And movies like this, but there's like so many of those this year, I don't really know what to go for, but it's like, you look and you have giants like Paul Thomas Anderson and Woody Allen, but then you look at the Meyerowitz Stories and Lady Bird, where you have indie giants like Noah Baumbach and Gerwig. So it's a matter of if the small is going to cancel out the big. And speaking of the big, obviously I'm really, really stuck on the big stick in this category. I feel like that's going to be that movie where no matter how dire it looks, I'm going to keep it in there all year because I just really have a strong feeling that that's the exact kind of movie that would get in here based on the acclaim it's gotten up to this point.
I see where you're coming from.
I think the post and Three Billboards speak for themselves. The Battle of the Sexes out of here, number one, because I think we're still not sure where it goes, and number two, I actually just told you this yesterday. I have no idea where the hell Battle of the Sexes lies as far as could it do really well or is it going to do nothing at all. And then it occurred to me, well, it's been in wide release for like a week and a half, and I'm not really hearing jack shit. That could just be maybe I'm just not getting enough information, or it just could be there's really nothing that's being said about it. I don't really know. And for a movie I initially had as a picture nominee, that's very quiet. I think it's like doing well with like audiences or something, but I'm just really not hearing any like big things about it. But that could just be a lack of information. I don't know. But
I mean,
with how crowded this category is getting, it just seems really expendable after a while.
I see where you're coming from as well, and again, welcome Jeremy to chat. I will state right now that Battle of the Sexes, I had to basically kick out of some things I didn't want it to be kicked out of because things came in that I wasn't anticipating. And that's what happens every single month. There's always a movie that I'm not thinking about that either you guys jump on or it's just something that just comes out of absolute nowhere. And it just completely just takes over my lineups. And I'd love to go with Battle of the Sexes, but it's like I can't because I'm already going for something out of the blue anyway, and I don't feel like it's as strong as it was. But then again, we don't know because no one knows right now. Ashley?
My 5 have switched around a little bit, but my list this time is Big Sick, Get Out, because I'm sticking with it.
Yep.
The Post, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Because I really shouldn't have doubted that people would be interested in a Martin McDonagh script. That's the reason why that's in. Oh, the TIFF wins everything, but it sort of had some momentum as well with some positive stuff for the London stuff. So, and certainly the awards do like McDonagh stuff, at least from a British perspective, what with, I think, both In Bruges and The Guard and Calvary. From not mixing up the McDonagh brothers. So that's my 5.
Okay. So mine has changed, like I said before. When it comes down to it, I had to bump out Battle of the Sexes here. I don't want to. I didn't want to, but I had to because this juggernaut that is 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, it's something I cannot not acknowledge, to make it double negative. So I'm going to stick with my original screenplay lineup from last time with that notable exception. I've got Liz Hannah for The Post. I've got Alexander Payne, Jim Taylor for Downsizing, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Martin McDonagh for 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, and yes, to AJ's chagrin, Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird. I honestly think at this point that's a very likely 5. What I keep seeing, what I keep hearing, Downsizing sounds like it's getting some momentum. And I really think Get Out is a contender this year. Honestly, it's something that I said this last month, and I'll say it again. It's something that basically just came out of nowhere in a quote unquote horror movie that has so much racial undertones to it that actually can captivate people to really think about what they're watching and not just sit back and enjoy themselves. That can be basically viewed as something, I can enjoy, and something that makes me think, is going to be something that I think the Academy viewers are going to cling to be totally honest. It's a solid 5 right now, and I really think that it's going to be really hard to see what we go from here, honestly, because the screenplay lineups are just all over the place, and I'm really curious to see where we're going. So yes, we move now into the acting categories. Go ahead.
Before you go on, I guess I should also throw out there real quick that the Firewood story is also goes in my way of thinking with Mudbound, where if they're going to put Netflix anywhere, screenplay seems like a logical place. That obviously goes for that.
Could see that. So we now move on to our acting categories. So now we move on to Best Supporting Actress. Ashley?
Hey?
I just want to see if you were paying attention, Ashley.
I was. That's why I was trying to go, what?
AJ, what's your Best Supporting Actress lineup?
I have Holly Hunter for The Big Stick, Allison Janney for I, Tonya, Melissa Leo for Novitiate, Lori Metcalf for Lady Bird, and Kristen Scott Thomas for Darkest Hour. As far as who I took out, I had Penelope Cruz in here for Murder on the Orient Express, because she's got that part. But, yeah, still no damn hype for that movie whatsoever, so I know it's still got a month to come out, but
Right.
There's just nothing behind that damn movie, which is still a little weird to me. But then there is additions here, like Pfeiffer for Mother I have, and that's kind of that's just kind of an I saw the movie thing, and it's kind of like, I know people are gonna say Mother won't get nominated because it's so out there and so weird. Honestly, I could buy Mother getting acting nominations. It's just the fact that Pfeiffer's not in it enough.
Okay.
That's really the way I look at that. So the addition, obviously the ones that stayed are Conjure Leo and Thomas. And I've seen The Big Stick now, and I could very easily see Holly Hunter seeing what the heck we're big with. But then there are the new additions of Allison Janney and Lori Metcalf. Allison Janney I actually mentioned last time because back when we didn't know if I, Tonya was going to come out this year, people were talking about the fact that if it were to, that Janney looked like a possible winner. But as we're noting, 3 of these people are mothers, playing mothers.
Very interesting.
And obviously, Lori Metcalf, this is... Obviously, her movie roles have not been huge. I think in the movie world, she's probably most well known for Scream 2, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, people have been loving her since Roseanne. I think it was just last year she played Annie Wilkes on stage. And there's always been a positivity in whatever industry towards her, especially among actors. So if she's got a part like this in a movie that's getting this kind of reaction, that seems totally plausible.
I mean, when you talk about Allison Janney, Ashley, God, I look at the picture. AJ, when you think about it, with Allison Janney, the thing that comes to mind for me is 10 Things I Hate About You.
I go to Juno's stepmom, but okay.
Fair point. And I apologize if you hear the loud noises in the background. Obviously, I have to do this via a different way because I have to have AJ on the phone, and we're using Google Hangouts for Ashley and myself. But if you can hear the trimming that's being done of the trees behind me right now, my apologies for that, guys. I'm sorry.
It's actually Leatherface.
I'm on the third. I'm on the third floor, and that's on the ground. So yeah, nothing I can really do about it. My apologies.
It's still Leatherface, I tell you.
That's enough. So
Ingrid Bergman, I can't remember her fucking name. Cruz has the Ingrid Bergman bar in Murder on the Orient Express.
Wow, nice.
Sorry, that very delayed thought.
The fun of live broadcast. Ashley.
So my 5, one change really of note. I'm going now with Hong Chow for Downsizing, Holly Hunter for The Big Sick, Julianne Moore for one of the two of Suburbicon and Wonderstruck, Vanessa Redgrave for Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, and Kristen Scott Thomas for Darkest Hour. Yeah, not really that much, just because Downsizing now has been classified, although it doesn't have a release date over here, so I don't know whether they're obviously going to try and get a release date so that it actually qualifies for BAFTAs. Otherwise, there might be an issue. But I'm bringing that in. I'm moving out Octavia Spencer for now, just because I actually do want to sort of spread the love around, because Shape of Water is going to be showing up in somewhere else instead.
Okay. Fair point. My best supporting actress lineup, well, actually changed a bit. Actually changed a whole lot. I kept 2. Everything else switched. Who I kept, I have Melissa Leo for Novitiate and Hong Chow for Downsizing. I think I'm giving up on The Greatest Showman. I hope it's good. Being one of the only people in the world that seem to like Australia, I love the Baz Luhrmann style, and always have. And this vibe gives me this. What the trailer actually gives me, it's like I said, Moulin Rouge meets Water for Elephants, just by watching the trailer alone. So we'll see where it actually goes and actually see the film. So I pretty much bumped it out. Goodbye, Christopher Robin. I would love to see it do something, but if anyone's guess if it will, maybe not. One of my biggest bumps out here is Kristen Scott Thomas here. I did kind of back off on The Darkest Hour a little bit this time around. That might end up biting me, but that's what I went with this time around. So what I did decide to do is I've joined the bandwagon, so I might as well stick with it. AJ, you are the facilitator as always. I'm going with Holly Hunter for The Big Sick. I am going with Allison Janney for I, Tonya, a movie that I am super, super excited for. LaVonna Harding, which is Tanya's mom, a really interesting character to play, and I'm really curious to see exactly how she pulls it off. I know she will. It's going to be a very demanding performance, and definitely an awards-worthy contention performance, if not winning performance. For those of you that don't know, I was really into the Tonya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan saga, if you will. I remember being a big Tonya Harding fan, and all the stuff that went down with like Shane Stan, Jeff Galooly, and just what happened to Lilyhammer. It's just, I was really hyped about this, and I'm very excited they're making a movie out of it. Margot Robbie as Tonya Harding is like amazing casting. I have no idea how they never made this to this day, but it was just like it was born to happen. And I think I, Tonya is going to be a big deal. I don't know if it's going to be big as in it's going to get a Best Picture nomination, but I guess we'll find out sooner rather than later. My dark horse right now, Ashley and AJ both, is going to be Brooklyn Prince. It's a name I'm seeing popping up a lot. If she gets nominated, she's going to be the youngest, I believe, I make sure I'm correct on this, the youngest actress in the history of the Academy's body in order to ever get nominated. She's 7 years old right now. And apparently she is one of the huge, like, stellar standouts of the Florida Project. And I see her name pop up all the time, and I'm just going to go with a crazy prediction and just put her into my lineup.
That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, it was one or the other. I was going to go, there was something else I was deciding to go against it, but I'm going to keep that quiet in case I need to change it later on. So, yeah, that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Hunter, Prince, Janney, Chow, and Leo as my supporting actress lineup. Speaking of supporting, best supporting actor.
Once again, I only made one change, and you already know what that is because I said at the beginning that I took Shannon out.
Yep.
So I've got Steve Buscemi for The Death of Stalin, Steve Carell for Last Flag Flying, Willem III for The Florida Project, Lawrence Fishburne for Last Flag Flying, and Michael Stuhlbarg for Call Me By Your Name. Gave all those before Buscemi, beloved, never been nominated with a script that's apparently the quality that one is. And Stuhlbarg, the same thing. He's really been present in the industry ever since A Serious Man, and it's just kind of been a matter of time. Defoe seems to still be the one that's getting mentioned the most. Now, the Carell-Fishburne thing, where I've often got on your case about going the double supporting actor nod because Spotlight couldn't even pull it off, and it hasn't been done since Keitel and Kingsley in 1991 for Bugsy. But, well, first off, I'm an idiot because in the last video I asked, I'm not sure what Fishburne's part is because Otis Young just totally slipped my mind. And the thing about that is, can I be real about this?
Of course.
Well, the whole, I mean, Fishburne is a great actor. He's proven himself many times over. He's been nominated before, and he's got a part in a Linklater movie that looks really, the role looks really good, and obviously it's going to be the three of these great actors playing off each other. And with Linklater behind the camera, it's like, this should just be gold. But there is one particular thing that kind of gave me the ultimate tipping point to say it's going to be Carell and Fishburne. You go back to 2015 with the controversy, the diversity controversy.
Yeah, I still see that hashtag to this day.
With all that, and then with the whole changing up the Academy and all that, and it's like really desperately doing that, it's like, I'm going to assume that they're going to make sure that never happens again. So after I made my list, I was looking it over. I still had a blank spot in supporting actor where I didn't have Fishburne in yet, and I looked and I saw that the list was very white. Okay, so, and this is, I'm saying, looking at it from the Academy saying, oh no, we never want to do that controversy again. I was like, maybe that's the direction I need to go. Is there any way this doesn't sound awful? Because it's, you see where I'm coming from.
I do.
That's just kind of the tipping point reason that made me put him in. Otherwise, even without that, it still seems very logical for him to be here. I just know a lot of people have him in place of Carell instead of alongside him. Now, like I said, that's still kind of hanging over the head of the double supporting actor is so rare that even Spotlight couldn't pull it off.
Right.
That's the best way I can do that. So,
Well, AJ, as you know, I've been calling I called it last month the double nod for Call Me By Your Name, and I mean it's something it's a Hail Mary, but I mean it's something that honestly is not out of the realm of possibility, especially if the movie's that strong.
that was kind of the thing too, where I was kind of looking at that whole diversity factor because the name I was looking at was Armie Hammer.
Well.
But then it was that last thing that made me say, let's try Fishburne.
We shall see. Ashley?
So, my 5. I'm literally doing a change on the fly. I'm going with Steve Buscemi for either Lean on Pete or Death of Stalin. Probably more Lean on Pete, more than likely though. Even though he is good in Death of Stalin. Steve Carell for Last Flag Flying. Michael Stuhlbarg for Call Me By Your Name, Mark Rylance for Dunkirk. And screw Richard Jenkins. Let's actually give Michael Shannon an Oscar nomination again and then not win because they're bastards. Yeah, so I've switched out Jenkins. I've just popped out Oscar Isaac at the minute because, I mean, it is coming out, I think, over here sort of mid-November-ish, so I'll be able to give more of a judge to it. And in terms of, I want to give something to Carell because I don't know whether the actor field is strong enough for him to get recognition for Battle of the Sexes. So that it might be sort of positioned that way. Plus, it's probably, to some extent, the big thing that Amazon is going to want to push as sort of their feature that they want everybody to get behind. And Rylance with Dunkirk will be in there forever because reasons.
Yeah, I'm not putting any faith in Rylance is probably gonna just really come back to haunt me, but I guess we'll see what happens. My supporting actor lineup has changed a little bit as well. I took Steve Carell out for Battle of the Sexes because I paid attention to what AJ said at the last podcast, and makes more sense to run him as leading, and leading is way too crowded and congested this year, so he's probably going to miss, sadly. And I'm not going with your I'm not going on the last flag flying bandwagon as well when it comes to Carell, so I'm just going to completely take him out. I literally made one change, so I've got Willem Dafoe for the Florida Project, Michael Shannon for The Shape of Water, Michael Stuhlbarg and Armie Hammer for Call Me By Your Name, and Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. If this is the 5 we have, other than my personal thing with Willem Dafoe, which is not going to be talked about here, I will say right now that if you have a lineup that includes Rockwell, Hammer, Stuhlbarg, and Shannon, I'm in. Even though Defoe's basically the winner at this point, unless something starts changing soon.
Them together sounds like the cast of a whole other Martin McDonagh movie.
Yes. Yes, it does. But yeah, give Armie Hammer some love. Like I said before, he needs something to rejuvenate his career after way too much panning for the Lone Ranger. And his stellar role in The Social Network, or roles, I guess you could say in this case, I would say right now that I really like to see him get some just due here. Michael Stuhlbarg, I really want to see him get nominated. And Michael Shannon's always nice to see his name pop up on nomination day. And Sam Rockwell, it's been a long time coming, and I think it's probably going to happen this year. So. We move on.
While we're talking about the greatness of Armie Hammer, I'd like to throw free fire into this ring as well, because he's fucking amazing in that. Earlier this year.
That review is existing on this network right now. You can go check it out after the podcast is over.
What a lame thing to say.
Come on. Hey now. You always have to get yourself and the network over, so that's what I'm trying to do here. So we're moving on again. We're going out of the supporting, and we're moving into the main event, which is the last 5 categories. I think that because my math is terrible, because it's terrible, of course. Now it's time for Best Actress. This is a bloodbath, AJ.
Thank you for saying my words back to me from yesterday.
You're very welcome, sir.
Yeah, this was about as aggravating to put together as original screenplay was.
Agreed.
What I ended up with was Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird, Meryl Streep for The Post, and Kate Winslet for Wonder Wheel. I say again, I don't know why I want to make this point so clear, but I do. I honestly think that Lawrence still could have gotten in for Mother, or still could get in for Mother, I guess, technically, because it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Because people are immediately dismissing because Mother's so fucking crazy and weird.
Correct.
the only thing I don't think that's the case at all. I think the only reason I took Lawrence out was because of how crowded the category is, regardless of how much they offer. Because you look at obviously the new additions being Francis McDormand. I think that speaks for itself. A lot of people are saying if it's going to continue the TIFF trend and Three Billboards is going to win at least one thing, it would be her second, supposedly. I know screenplay is being thrown around a lot for it, but that as well. Margot Robbie just kind of seems like it all adds up, because she obviously got enormous notice for The Wolf of Wall Street, and pretty much ever since then, especially with not the quality, but the success and popularity of Suicide Squad has basically kept her at the it girl status.
Right.
So it just kind of all adds up. She get a nomination like this, especially for a part where she's not going to be as stunning as she typically is, to my understanding. I mean, we're not talking like Charlize levels, obviously, but yeah, I don't even remember who the other person was I had in here, but
give me a second, I can tell you, because I have that in
oh yeah, it was Emma Stone.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was immediately sold that Emma Stone was going to be an automatic Afterglow nomination, but then again, like I said, Battle of the Sexes is so quiet, it seems, when it just came out in wide release. As far as I know.
Nice. Ashley?
Mine are pretty similar. My only change is Frances McDormand drops in to replace Judi Dench, because after seeing Victoria and Abdul, I can see why the Academy would give it, in terms of a pretty good role in a honestly average melodramatic movie that's probably only for people over the age of 60.
But you heard what's helping her, right?
Well, her probably talking about Harvey.
Apparently, Judi Dench is actually campaigning.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me.
Which
it makes sense. She is sort of the key part of that film. So mine's probably a bit too typical, maybe, but I'm going with Meryl Streep for The Papers, Kate Winslet for Wonder Wheel, because I saw them out in between us. Nope. Sally Hawkins for Shape of Water, Frances McDormand for Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and Emma Stone for Battle of the Sexes, because all the buzz I'm hearing is that it's a better role than La La Land, and that won the Oscar.
Well, shit.
So I think she'll get at least. I think she's going to get at least a nomination, possibly. We'll have to see what happens, because, like you did say, AJ, the public really didn't respond to it. It'll be interesting to see when it goes. I think its release is like November over here in the UK, so then I'll get a proper judge as to how people felt about it. But I mean, we'll see.
Well, hopefully the loudness goes away. My apologies for it not. So just like the other members of the panel, I made a few changes. I actually made two. I did bump out Jennifer Lawrence. AJ is right here, per usual. When it comes down to it, Lawrence is definitely not a guarantee to be out of this race at all, because she's in the race regardless how crazy and bonkers the movie is. I will say right now that Annette Bening bumps out here too, because I don't know about my confidence in the film Stars Don't Live in Purple Train. I don't even know the name of the movie. The thing is, I just read it too fast. I really think that it could go either way. It's a very good possibility that it could get her back in the race, like in the next couple videos, potentially next couple prediction videos. I guess we'll see how the rest of the race goes leading up to the televised award shows. But what I did do here I kept Meryl Streep in for The Post. I kept Saoirse Ronan in for Lady Bird. I kept Emma Stone in for Battle of the Sexes. And I moved in Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, which, like I said before, Margot Robbie playing Tonya Harding seems like a role she was like born to play, quite literally. And I'm super excited for the movie. And it's probably right now, it's my second most anticipated movie of the year right now that I know that it's coming out. And it's actually, with the way that it's going with the qualifying run, it's going to come out with my most anticipated movie of the year. So, which we'll get to in just a minute when we get to Best Actor. And yes, Frances McDormand for the 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. This looks like a very solid list, honestly. If this is the 5, got no issues whatsoever. Ronan continues to have major buzz. Meryl Streep, like Ashley likes to say constantly, it's because she's Meryl Streep, but apparently she's really good in The Post. Like I said, Meryl Streep plus Steven Spielberg seems like it's something that have magic attached to it. I'm going to keep Emma Stone in here. I mean, she might be expendable. I guess we'll find out how it works. And Frances McDormand getting a lot of buzz right now, and I'm happy to see Margot Robbie move in here. So I moved her out of Christopher Robin and moved her in with I, Tonya. So
good.
Good. Yes, we'll see what happens.
Goodbye, Christopher Robin. She is fucking terrible. I don't know whether it's Frank Cottrell Boyce's script, but she's walked out of Wings, you know, the 1928 film?
Right.
And they've literally stuck her in this.
Boy.
And the accent is terrible.
Oh, boy.
It's annoying because the story's so interesting. The dialogue for her sounds like it was written by those crappy like B movies that you got in the 1940s that were just propaganda crap.
Exactly.
That as soon as I heard the first bit of dodgy words, I was like, this is not on any Oscars list, and if it's on anybody's, they deserve to be shot.
Right. So it's good that I don't get shot now. That's a good thing. AJ,
Probably.
Best Actor.
This got a little interesting. This category still feels incredibly bare bones for the category that it is.
Agreed.
But I have Chadwick Boseman for Marshall, Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, Dustin Hoffman for The Meyerowitz Stories, Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, and Harry Dean Stanton for Walking. I had Cranston in here, but he was like my last minute choice then, so I was never really that confident, even though he's obviously a gifted enough actor, and he's gonna have a really great part because we've seen him play before. But for some reason, I just don't have the confidence in him. I'm not really sure what it is, but I also kind of threw Hanks' name around, but I'm not sure. Boseman, like Marshall, we probably won't hear too much about until it comes out on Friday. But I'm still sticking with just the role that it is and the fact that Boseman's just been climbing and climbing. I'll say this every time I mention his name. Not getting anywhere close to a nomination for Get On Up is a crime.
Yeah, you brought it up. You're going to bring it up every podcast. Mark my words. Mark tape.
And like I said, when we get really into the thick of the Oscar season, the hype around Black Panther is going to be insane by that point.
Totally agreed with that. The trailer looks amazing.
So I think that'll be just enough to propel him for Marshall. Day-Lewis, once again, is doing the whole retirement angle again. Him and Paul Thomas Anderson, I think that speaks for itself. Oldman speaks for itself. Hoffman, obviously you see that I've given another major nomination to a Netflix movie, which I was against last time. But this one is probably going to get a lot of attention because you got a director like Noah Baumbach behind it. The cast is getting a lot of attention. And then you just look at the type of role that it is, like the whole major arc thing, and you've got fucking Hoffman has not been nominated since Wag the Dog 20 years ago.
Right.
And it just seems like a role that's kind of asking for it, but there's just the whole maybe Netflix is holding it back. You really can't tell.
It's possible.
But then again, I can't remember if I said this last time, honestly. But there is the thing about the fact that when Beasts of No Nation came out, it wasn't like the first movie Netflix put out like under their name.
I believe so. Yes.
And now, over this past 2 years, Netflix movies have become such a common thing. Maybe they've warmed up to it,
Possible.
especially since the Academy has changed up a little bit.
I still think, personally, the Academy is against Netflix's approach.
It's
if you look at the other big provider in Amazon, Amazon says before it's available anywhere on our streaming services, it will have a theatrical run. Netflix going screw the big screen might be an approach that hinders them possibly.
But then there's also this doesn't usually mean, Oscars technically, but the Cannes reaction is worth noting for the Myra story specifically. But then, my last choice here, jump on the posthumous bandwagon. I was never predicting Gandolfini for Enough Said, even after his SAG nomination.
Yep.
But once again, it feels like a very bare bones category this year. Harry Dean Stanton was never nominated in all the damn movies he was in. Even if they don't know his name, everybody knows his face. Role is one of those roles to where it's like it's almost like you're watching an actor actually reflecting on his own life throughout it, and the fact that there's really nothing to the movie except him. Like the entire movie is just him. That it makes sense, and it just came out I think a couple of weeks ago.
Mm.
And even though they say the story is really bare bones and stuff like that, that just makes the actor shine even more, especially when it's the whole kind of reflective angle and the fact that it's this massive veteran that's never got nominated before yet has been in so many iconic movies. It just makes sense.
Makes sense. Ashley?
Liam Neeson drops out of mine, and in his place, just because of how good the trailer actually looks for the next film from Dan Gilroy, I'm adding Denzel Washington for Roman Israel Esquire to join Matt Damon for Downsizing, Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, Andrew Garfield for Breathe, because there needs to be some recognition for Andy Serkis, goddammit. And also Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour. I mean, the Denzel trailer looks good in the same way that the Nightcrawler trailer looked good. And I do like the fact as well that they're sticking with, or Dan's sticking with a protagonist that you don't know whether to hate or love.
Right.
And, the Denzel love never normally finishes at the Academy. And especially with the diversity issue, I'm not saying it's sort of a shoo-in, but it's the right sort of character that the Academy loves, and it's an actor with pedigree. So that's why he moves in.
Well, we know one thing. Not getting a BAFTA nomination.
That's a way to look at it.
By the way, I totally spoke too soon on that title.
Yeah, you were telling me yesterday.
Yeah, last time I said I thought Roman Israel Esquire actually kind of sounded cool.
Yep.
And I thought people were hating on it too much. Yeah, that's before they put a fucking initial in it. Now it sounds like shit, too much of a mouthful. That's not why I took him out, by the way.
Well, of course not.
I forgot to explain that. I wasn't sure if it was wishful thinking because I'm still so bent out of shape about him losing Casey Affleck.
Yeah. Same here.
And I just, yeah, it was just kind of something that I kind of thought should have been like a shoe-in thing. Like, it's just kind of something that, it's just kind of always been a thought that he'd obviously get in for that after Fences, but I started to think more about why I was thinking that, especially with going on the Gilroy thing. The fact that Gyllenhaal came so close for Nightcrawler and couldn't pull it off. Not that that's necessarily an omen, but
Could be.
kind of just I guess the others that I went with just seemed to make more sense.
I'm puzzled by why you to say that it isn't going to get a BAFTA nomination.
Denzel's never been nominated for a BAFTA.
The interesting... Oh, actually, looking at it... Oh, wow. It's current... Well, it ain't going to have a chance then, because at least according to the film listing stuff that I've got here, it ain't coming out here until, like, mid-March. Same day as Pacific Rim Uprising and Wrinkle in Time, so it's not even apparently being entered for consideration. Although, on the BBFC's own website, and I don't know whether this is when the actual trailer's getting released, they just classified that first trailer that came out last week, and it says 1st of December. So I don't know whether that's when the trailer's coming out or whether they actually might be using that as a release date. I don't know, so we'll have to see.
Ashley?
Hey? Is this paying attention to me again?
Yes.
I thought we already did the actor.
I'm going next now. I'm trying to keep track of everything, and it's hard to do because I'm trying to like type out everybody's predictions, and it's not easy. So I'm trying to like do like 15 things at once and keep AJ's call from dropping, because a minute ago someone called me while I was on the phone with AJ, and it would have completely disconnected the call.
Oh, right. Yeah, so you're 5 then, Owen.
My actor is staying the same, basically, with one notable exception. Yeah, like I said before with Michelle Williams, I bumped her out, and I'm also bumping out Hugh Jackman. I don't want to. I just feel like they're just not going to take to it. I guess we'll find out if they do or not. My best actor lineup is still Tom Hanks for The Post, Matt Damon for Downsizing, James Franco for The Disaster Artist, Gary Oldman for The Darkest Hour, and Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread. It just makes sense. It does. And if this is the lineup we get, once again, it's going to be awesome. I sit back and I wonder why I even do these videos, because I honestly do not know what I'm talking about half the time.
Hey, that kind of honesty is valuable.
Sometimes. So we move on to Best Director, which is our semi-main event.
I didn't make any changes.
Makes sense.
Same 5 people I was looking at last time. Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread, Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water, Luca Guadagnino for Call Me By Your Name. Still not quite sure if that's how you... Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, and Steven Spielberg for The Post.
Okay.
Same reasoning applies. It's obviously, I feel like Paul Thomas Anderson's a bit more of a gamble because I took him out of screenplay. Because you would think if he's going to go as far as director, a Paul Thomas Anderson script could get in as well. But it's, especially since, I believe I said this exactly last time, even despite how much it was more off the radar than his other movies have been, he still got a screenplay nomination for Inherent Vice.
Yep.
But I feel like he could still reasonably get in director, just given how accomplished he is in that field, obviously, and that I still think this is a movie they could totally take to. It's just the screenplay itself is going to be victim of the fact that the category it's in is so damn packed. So that wouldn't, the fact that original screenplay is so packed, if you don't get an original screenplay, I don't feel like it's telling of anything. And then I think that's the only one that needs explanation.
Makes sense. Ashley, did you change it all?
Well, I think I dropped out Steven Spielberg.
Whoa.
Because instead I put Guillermo del Toro in for Shape of Water. Just because I have not seen a single trailer about this post, I don't even know what it is. All I know is that it exists. I've actually seen promotion for Shape of Water. I'm sticking, at least for the minute, with Patty Jenkins for Wonder Woman, because I think Warner Brothers is going to really push on that front. Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, Andy Serkis for Breathe, and Denis Villeneuve for Blade Runner 2049. Also, side note, if fucking Roger Deakins doesn't win this year, people are going to die in this academy from my hands.
Great, this video is evidence now.
Wonderful. The thoughts and the opinions
because I don't have a
Ashley.
passport, so I can't follow him.
The thoughts and the opinions of Ashley Richardson are not those of the Popcast Network or its subsidiaries.
No, if it was a real threat, I'd be sending letters to the bloody company, and I can't be asked to do that because I ain't got money for the postage.
Cease and desist.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, to elaborate on a couple of the things he said.
Go ahead.
In regards to, this is another conversation we had yesterday, in regards to Villeneuve, what I'm about to say is going to sound very familiar if people have been keeping up with these over the years.
Yep.
As of right now, I feel like Blade Runner is going to be that movie where there is so much hype about it, and it's so... Obviously, there's a lot of stuff about how its box office isn't too great, even though it still took #1. But when I say huge, I mean the spectacle that is seeing the thing. And it's this massive thing. We got this massive fan base. Everybody's coming out saying it's like one of the best movies they've ever seen. It's speaking of cinematography, some of the best they've ever seen. Just everything is like the best they've ever seen in regards to Blade Runner. And yeah, Villeneuve just got nominated last year for a sci-fi movie. An entirely different one, but nevertheless. And obviously Villeneuve is just a very big name right now that people are really taking notice of. However, I'm thinking that Blade Runner this year will be that movie that everybody wants to get in, but there's going to be a whole lot of pissed off people when it doesn't break the top 8. Yes, this is exactly what I said about Mad Max Fury Road.
Yes, it is.
I know, I have totally been wrong about this before, but as of right now, like, you know when you go around, when you literally have nothing else to do, and you watch those people reacting to the nominations, and just watch how extremely, mostly childishly pissed off they get when their movie does not get in?
Yes.
I just received so many pissed off reaction videos of Blade Runner fans just completely losing their shit and saying, you know, the Academy's bullshit, they go for Oscar bait, etc. I feel like that's the result of Blade Runner as of now. Obviously the text, it should do amazing, but as far as breaking the top 8, I'm kind of on that train of thought that I was on with Mad Max, even though that was so fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And in regards to the post, I don't know how much you want to take this, but I've actually been hearing that the fact that we have not seen anything for the post is what makes it the front runner.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, hold on. I should probably elaborate on that. Because obviously, if you just hear that, it doesn't make too much sense. But it's the fact that you've got everything behind it. You've got Spielberg, you've got Hanks, you've got Streep, you've got one of the writers from Spotlight, you've got the subject matter. It's this whole big thing. Everything about this movie is something that would draw massive attention. And it's like one of the only ones we haven't really heard anything about. And we're at a time in the race right now where there's no front runner.
Yeah.
So the space is wide open for the movie with all the potential we don't know anything about yet. So take that what you will, I guess.
My director lineup hasn't changed, with one notable exception. So I still have Chris Nolan for Dunkirk, Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Steven Spielberg for The Post, and welcome Martin McDonagh for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Joe Wright went bye-bye. I'm telling you right now, it's just, I really think Jordan Peele's getting in. And I think he's getting in for screenplay too. I really think Get Out is something to really be talked about. And I don't think it's a throwaway nomination either. It's not going to win, don't get me wrong, but it's something I do think it's going to stick around for the entire season. And everything else just kind of speaks for itself, honestly. So now we've come to our final category of the night, and that is Best Picture.
All right. I seem to have made a slight mistake. I could have sworn I took the big stick out of this, but it's...
Well, now you said that out loud.
Yeah. Yeah, I am taking the big stick out of this, actually.
All right, go ahead.
Because I had something here, but I miscounted how many I had down. Okay. I have Call Me By Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Lady Bird, Last Flag Flying, Phantom Thread, The Post, Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. That is 9. Yes, it is. Okay. I had Detroit in here for the topical stuff. And I did say last time that things were very silent on the Detroit front. And the fact that we shouldn't pay that any mind because stuff always makes a comeback when people think it's dead this soon. But as far as I know, Detroit's just not really a movie you hear about anymore. I know that goes against the whole comeback thing, but I just kind of lost confidence in it, especially since this was pretty much the only thing I had it in for. Obviously, I've added Last Flag Flying. It was kind of basically the power of the cast and the fact that it's Linklater, just kind of it being one of those very lower tier ones. It was the one I just replaced the Big Stick with, to give you an idea. I didn't have Darkest Hour in here before because I'm still not totally confident in it. It kind of seems like that movie to where I don't know past like Kristen Scott Thomas and Oldman if it's gonna really do much of anything outside of maybe a couple of connects in the long run. But since the hype for it is still very much out there, I just went ahead and put it in now.
Makes sense.
Obviously, with the big surges for Lady Bird and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, that was easy putting them in here. So, yeah, the others are obvious.
So as the chainsaws start up again, sorry, as we're finishing, Ashley, Best Picture.
My 9 are Call Me By Your Name, Darkest Hour, Downsizing, Dunkirk, Get Out. I'm still sticking with that. I'm being loyal. Last Flag Flying, Phantom Thread, The Post, and The Shape of Water. Yes, there is no Blade Runner in, despite all my praise of Villeneuve and the art, the cinematography from Roger Deakins. Just because I think Mad Max was the anomaly. You could get away with Inception back in 2010 because it was like critically acclaimed, but it was sci-fi as well. But I just think that they've dabbed their toe in that water anyway. And to me, the populist one would be Get Out. And, you know, I keep saying the diversity thing, but it'd be a good way to recognize it with that. And the reason why the Post is in, after my, you know, berating of their promotion stuff, that cast is, I'm thinking on the cast front and thinking back to bloody Moonlight and Spotlight for the past couple of years. In that the Academy likes to give them the best picture to something which has got a big cast when you can't single anybody out. Even though with the Post, you obviously are singling out Streep and Hanks for their sort of lead roles in it. But yeah, so that's in there because of the cast effect, really. So that's my 9.
Okay. Mine didn't change at all except for one notable exception. I'm sure it's like a broken record right now what I'm referring to. My best picture lineup is The Disaster Artist, Get Out, The Post, Downsizing, Call Me By Your Name, Dunkirk, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which took over for Battle of the Sexes, Darkest Hour, and The Shape of Water. Shape of Water, I think, is pretty much solidified. 3 Billboards, I think, is in like permanently. Darkest Hour could go either way, but Ullman's performance seems to be the one that everybody keeps talking about. That's the one major thing I keep hearing about the movie. Dunkirk is still here. A lot of people are thinking Nolan's got a really good chance to win. Everything I'm seeing is saying that Dunkirk is a real contender this year, with literally running on getting nothing but tech nominations and potentially one for Rylance, and obviously the win potentially for Nolan. I think Call Me By Your Name is definitely in here. Downsizing, I'm glad to see is starting to get and pick up steam as we move on. I think The Post is in here. I think The Disaster Artist, like I said, is a bigger contender than anybody thought it would be. And speaking of bigger contenders than I thought it could be, Get Out, I think, is going to be something that a lot of people need to recognize right now to their predictions, because it's going to end up here. One way or another, it's going to end up in this race. This is going to be a nice night to be Jordan Peele. That's your lineups, everyone. If you have any predictions of your own, leave them in the comments below. And once again, I want to thank everyone for listening tonight or listening this afternoon, depending on when we get this up for you guys. So we've got a lot of Ashley content coming, a lot of wrestling content from Ashley. There's this random video that came up, something about cease and desist. You might want to watch that. It's rather entertaining. It's only a little bit under 3 minutes long. So yeah, you might want to watch that. It's really good. AJ's got a ton of stuff coming from you guys this week. We got movie reviews coming out. We've also got 2 editions of horror-themed verses for the month of October. And who knows, maybe or just maybe I might throw something snack your way. And later tonight, 9 o'clock, Halloween Horror Nights 27, Halfway Point Popcast with myself, joined this time by the newest member of the elite of the Popcast Network, my good friend, one of my best friends, John Paul, as well as other best friends of mine, which are Darren and Diego, and Whit will be joining us as well, and eventually some special guests. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So, once again, Ashley, thank you for joining us this afternoon or evening, depending on how you're looking at it.
It's both and neither.
AJ, hopefully once you officially become a year older, we will fix this technological issue and you'll be able to join us with Goodwill Hangouts next month.
With any luck.
Yes, and luck is the word of the day, everyone. Just keep that in mind and fingers crossed. So that's going to be your show for today. Once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We will see you again next month for yet another November podcast, where we're going to be talking about the Oscars. Horror Nights will be over with, so I'll be able to focus more on the awards body and maybe actually pay more attention this time instead of like being off in literal La La Land, which I will see about the time that we actually do this yet again. So the La La Land in concert, I cannot wait to attend. So once again, I want to thank everyone for listening tonight. Thanks everyone for watching tonight, and go out, go see a movie, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.